Opening statement by Curtis Petishkin. You have 3 minutes.
Just go right now.
Go right ahead. And try to speak into the microphone.
Can you hear me?
You can.
Okay, excellent. Hello everybody, my name is Curtis Petishkin. I'm a 4th year student in the Bachelor of Arts and Science program studying biology and philosophy. I've worked as an RA for 3 years. I've seen hundreds and hundreds of students come through the resident system. I've spent all my time and all my university career working with students, supporting students, and helping students achieve their leadership goals and their career aspirations. I approach this job as the CSA External Commissioner as not as a perk for me, but as a selfless duty to students. I think we've had years and years of misguided and inefficient CSA governance at this school, which needs to be addressed by people with a fresh perspective. I haven't been involved with any CSA activities. All I've been involved with are activities directly affecting students. I have no prior biases or anything against this. My only agenda is to make sure that students have adequate representation at this school. I believe there are 3 main aims that need to be focused on as the CSA External Commissioner. We definitely need to make sure that we can take our concerns as University of Guelph students to a federal and provincial level through our student unions. Our student union happens to be the Canadian Federation of Students. I think that in this current economic climate, we need to be able to reevaluate whether the Canadian Federation of Students are providing the best possible benefits for the money we give them. We give them hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and so far we haven't seen much. I'm not saying that we should withdraw. I'm saying that we should definitely reconsider in this economic climate, as we should with all student fees. The second goal I think we should look at is to actually changing the mandate of the External Commissioner. It's not only good enough to fight for the rights and responsibilities of students, but we also need to fight for the opportunities and the career aspirations of students. We need to not only complain about the present, but we need to plan for the future. I think the External Commissioner should be able to approach NGOs, industry reps, charities, any sort of government recruiters hoping to help students along with their career goals as part of their mandate, because we not only have to fight for the present, but we need to fight for a future of our degrees. The third goal I'd like to see is a more representative CSA Human Rights Office. I believe that the CSA Human Rights Office is one of the overarching and one of the most telling examples of the principles that the CSA embodies. I think that we have to also look at equity as well as a sufficient definition, as a necessary definition, but not as a sufficient definition. We need to look at the issues and the diversity and problems affecting all students. Thank you, Mike. And I just want to finish saying that I hope that students approach me with their issues and concerns. A lot of students have approached me when I've been publicly campaigning, and I actually appreciate discourse and I appreciate people who disagree. If anyone disagrees on this subject, please approach me. If I'm to represent students, I need to know all viewpoints, even ones that don't agree with me. Thank you very much for this time, and hope everyone enjoys this debate.
Thank you. Momina, your opening statements.
Hi guys, my name is Momina, and I'm also running for the External Commissioner position. For those of you who don't know me, I am a final year engineering student. I've been involved on this campus in many different capacities, ranging from being the Bachelor of Engineering Senator this year, and I also sit on the CSA board, and I've been heavily involved with almost all student clubs on this campus. I have worked with students from the grassroots levels, and I have experienced a lot of discrimination on this campus, so I can understand when people talk about the CSA not being representative of all students on this campus. Although the External Commissioner's portfolio in particular asks us to advocate for students at the provincial and federal levels, and also we oversee the CSA Human Rights Office and take care of the non-academic ancillary fees that students pay to the CSA. I strongly believe that unless our over 15,000 undergraduate students do not get involved with the CSA, do not approach the CSA, which they haven't been doing. Having been on the CSA board, I have not seen a single undergraduate student come out to these student meetings. I think that's a huge cause for concern. So I would like to start off by connecting students with their student union, because unless we don't know who we're representing, we cannot represent at any level, whether it's local or at the federal level. I do believe that the student fees that we do get needs to be allocated towards services that students use. A prime example is the CSA Food Bank. There's been a huge increase in the number of students that are using the CSA Food Bank, and we really need to allocate these resources to the bank. We also students to get involved and to approach them and ask them to get involved with these issues, because even though I'm graduating, I'm coming back because I strongly believe that students are not coming out and advocating on their behalf. I also feel that because there are so many women on our campus, there's a huge disconnect, and there are only 2 women running in the CSA elections out of the 9 candidates that we have. I think that's appalling, and that's not enough representation. I also feel that there aren't enough people from different diverse backgrounds that are running, and through my experiences working with the Student Life Department and several clubs on campus, I have understood their issues, and I am more than happy to advocate on their behalf. Now, because I only have 25 seconds left, I would like to say that I'm a very approachable person, and I really care about students' issues, which is why I want to come back full-time and advocate for you guys. So please feel free to ask me any questions, and again, I'm Momina, so do vote in the CSA elections, whether it's for me or not.
Okay, our first question for Momina, but both candidates will be answering it. There we go. The first question. The CSA represents the entire student body, which is a whole lot of different voices. Hypothetical situation. You decide to support an initiative that alienates some groups of students. They come up and complain that they feel unrepresented. What do you do?
Again, I think a lot of us know that the CSA has had issues in the past. I have been involved with the whole pro-life, pro-choice issue, which I think was very contentious, but it did bring out a lot of involvement from students, which I think was great. I also understand, having worked with the Jewish Students Organization and the Muslim Students Organization, that the Israeli and Palestinian issue has been extremely controversial. However, I have always advocated for students, no matter what their issues are, what their ideologies are. I think the CSA represents all students. We need to hear out everybody. There are ways to deal with issues. First and foremost, I think instead of oppressing or suppressing freedom of speech, I think we need to reach out to students, hear their concerns, and there are ways to get around, trying to suppress one voice over another. I think the CSA can be representative of students by talking to them. That's the biggest issue. When you don't reach out to students, when you don't understand their entire concern, you cannot represent on their behalf. It's okay to talk about stuff. The fact that we are not open to discussions and dialogue in the CSA is what causes increased number of hate crimes on our campus, increased misunderstandings on our campus. And because I've had a lot of experience working with students and representing them, I think it's okay to listen to them and find a common ground. I know everybody is willing to work with each other as long as we can have a balance between both sides and both perspectives. So that's my take on this issue.
Same question, Chris?
Thank you, Jeff. I feel that in my years of experiencing the kind of issues that happen in the CSA is that there seems to be, as Momina mentioned earlier, there seems to be a disconnect between the CSA and the general student body. Now, I haven't been able to put my finger on exactly why we have this problem, but I think it does boil down to the fact that the CSA has not been encouraging enough active dialogue or been encouraging discourse on a lot of the subjects happening to students across campus. One of the issues could be, as I've been aware of, is the issue of club space. There are many clubs that have been able to talk to each other and present viable plans for how to use club space, but the CSA has not been listening to these plans. They've been ignoring them, and they have been trying to, and they have not been very inclusive of the discourse around the issue of club space. As well, the freedom of speech is one of the overriding principles of our Canadian society, and to discourage any sort of acts of freedom of speech, whether they be from any disadvantaged groups or from any advantaged groups, represents an infringement upon that basic right. And I think the CSA has not been informing students of their total rights when it comes to freedom of speech and comes to discourse on this campus, and it's something that I hope to provide an extra voice for when it comes to enacting the policies of the CSA.